In this video, I'll be covering things that changed the course of GTA Online, but also how it's played. This is a pretty interesting topic to me, because the game took some interesting twists and turns over the years. All for the sake of staying interesting and maintaining a solid fanbase that keeps playing. Now, some of these changes are good and are pretty much deemed as great additions universally. Others are spat upon by certain groups of the community and loved by others. Others are just universally deemed as the most stupid bullshit ever. Now, before we dive into this video, I'd love to hear from you guys as well. What do you think changed GTA Online more than anything else in the game? Be sure to let me know by leaving a comment down below, and I would love to see if your thoughts align with the things I listed and vice versa. Maybe I forgot something. I'd love to hear that. The list I compiled are things from my own experience, but I also took some things from Twitter from what people mentioned, and well, there you have it. So before I begin, my first batch of honorable mentions. The Orbital Cannon. The Orbital Cannon changed GTA Online in the sense that you aren't safe anywhere. No matter who you are, what you are doing, how skilled you are, with one click of the button and you are dead. Unless you are GhillieMaster and upside down in a sea breeze. This is something you luckily don't come across constantly, but every now and then you are just dead and are reminded that the bastard exists. I wouldn't go as far as saying it destroyed GTA Online or changed it super drastically, but it is something that me and nearly everyone thinks that shouldn't have a place in GTA Online and doesn't benefit anyone in particular except for griefers. Next up, the advanced handling flags. The short version is Rockstar decided it was a good idea to add some extra attributes to the later cars, the Wagner being a prime example, which makes them a lot quicker than any of the old vehicles. This of itself isn't per se a bad idea, making some vehicles excel at, for instance, acceleration, others having more downforce. But unfortunately, the old generation of cars just got forgotten about with these additions. This basically crippled and changed the entire way racing works for a lot of classes. To summarize, pick anything else in the Wagner and you lose. I'll have more honorable mentions near the end, but let's dive into the nitty gritty first. This list is in no particular order. First up, heists. When talking about GTA Online DLCs, we often talk about pre and post heists. Heists are an enormous deal for many reasons, and without them we would probably already be playing GTA 6. It's the one thing that not only brought a lot of people back, but also breathed new life into the game and showed the potential of what GTA could become. For the first time, we got a really cool narrative and cutscenes for our characters. We had to work together on missions that were legit really hard, and the sense of accomplishment is still, up until this point, tremendous and arguably the best experience GTA Online has to offer. It was that big of a success that later down the line we got Heist Part 2, aka the Doomsday Heist. This DLC was equally fun in my opinion, although it was a bit crazy. If you look at what the first set of heists were, actual heists involving a bank robbery, and then the Doomsday Heist, you kinda had to save the world, well, it was an interesting change of pace, obviously. I'd much rather have seen another big score like the single player big score, but instead we got Chernobyls, Orbital Cannons, and all that foolishness. Regardless of all of that, from a gameplay perspective, the Doomsday Heist was another banger, especially the Bogdan glitch. Second up, we have Gunrunning. This was the start of a new generation of GTA Online. A lot of the community who don't like where GTA Online is headed see Gunrunning as the turning point of the game. The first flying bike got added, it got a lot of weaponized vehicles, the Mk2 weapons. Of course, Gunrunning Operation gave us bunkers, which can be, if you didn't get the Criminal Enterprise pack like yours truly when I started over, it can be a great way to make a lot of money. But that aside, the weapons, the vehicles, changed GTA Online forever. In all following DLCs after that, after Gunrunning, GTA Online became a modern and future warfare battle zone. We went from doing heists and actually becoming criminals to becoming these warlords. And future DLCs like Smuggler's Run, Doomsday Heist, and even After Hours, they all added to that notion. After Hours in particular is a very interesting one, and it makes me wonder what the next big thing will be. Nobody ever thought a Mk2 Oppressor would play a part in a nightlife DLC. So, long story short, Gunrunning added a lot of crazy shit, and Rockstar never stopped adding crazy shit after Gunrunning. Third, we have Cunning Stunts. Racing and stunting has always been a huge part of GTA as a franchise. It was always about fast cars and stunting, and before Cunning Stunts, races were pretty straightforward. You'd have your odd stunt jump, some people made jobs and made pretty interesting maps, but after Cunning Stunts, all racing hell broke loose, in a good way in my opinion. Cunning Stunts changed one of GTA Online's core gameplay features, which was racing. It made way to not only have these awesome stunt races in, but also made the normal races more interesting with the enormous amount of props they added. To add to this mix, a few weeks or months later, if I recall correctly, they added a stunt creator to GTA Online so the community could create their own wicked tracks. And up until this point, it's still being used by community members to create some really awesome tracks. And besides that, it brought a host of new vehicles to GTA Online. For me personally, it was the best DLC that was added, and I played countless of hours on the maps the community and Rockstar had created. That to me made racing so much more interesting, and GTA Online for me became a platform to play these awesome stunt races in particular. Before Cunning Stunts, GTA Online racing was very horizontal, and adding that verticality and all these stunts and wicked things in really changed up the entire game for me. And to later expand on the Cunning Stunts DLC, Rockstar added the Special Vehicle Circuit, which brought races for the Runa 2000, Rocket Voltic and Blazer Aqua into the mix. I haven't played these loads, but I still enjoy the Runa 2000 races in particular. Moving on, we have the businesses that got added. A bunch of ways to somewhat passively make money in GTA Online got added. The biker, gunrunning CEO, and the hangars of course turned GTA Online into something else and more free mode orientated. Now these DLCs brought in a load of vehicles and extra features as well, which changed up the world even further, but I won't be looking into them specifically. Instead, I'll just be looking at the businesses and what they did to the game. GTA and GTA Online is all about making money. Before the businesses, it was all about heists to make money, and granted, it is still a fantastic way to make money, especially the Bogdan glitch, if you have a good team. If you don't, well, you're gonna have to cry a lot and waste a lot of time. But setting up and spending time on your businesses to generate cash over time became the primary way to make money. An average player spends time in GTA Online setting up his businesses, so they generate supplies, then they do missions like the CEO missions or whatever is double money on the side, and then start doing the sell missions with their operations. Before that, GTA Online looked way differently. I come from the days of old where grinding rooftop rumble was the meta. You'd kill a couple of baddies, chase down a car, and then your suitcase got dropped and you drive it back to Madrazo over and over and over and over and over. 8-Bit Bastard even made a song which went something like this. It's rooftop rumble, you gotta chase down that car until the suitcase tumbles and drive it on back to Madrazo. Beautiful. Fast forward a few years and no one does that shit anymore unless it's double money. And even then, they aren't the primary way to make money anymore. They supplement whatever you do on your businesses. And the question of whether these businesses are a good thing, well, it's all depending on who you ask, really. Some people say it's too much of a grind, and I fully get that. Others enjoy that part of the game and they feel they're working towards something. And I'm kind of torn on it. Having that feeling of Rockstar forcing you to spend time in GTA Online for the best money-making method in the game instead of a simple quick play, quick reward kind of system isn't appealing to me. It's not that I am lazy, it's not that I don't want to do it, but it is basically the only way, and Rockstar is kind of forcing your hand to do this specific thing, especially since the game forces you to grind like crazy because of the prices. I'm not talking here about whether it's easy to do, whether it takes a lot of time, but I'm talking about the fact that it is the only good way to make money, and all the other things, even if they are double money, double RP, whatever, most of the things and most of the time it's irrelevant or very boring, and everything seems to be a little bit of a grind in GTA Online. Now, before we move over to GhillieMaster 16, who's eagerly awaiting to talk about the last point, which probably changed GTA Online the most, a few more honorable mentions. The CEO organization. As Potter points out here, it made the people invested in PvP go off radar, dropping BST amongst other things. This changed how PvP, another massive thing in GTA Online, works for good. Combine all of that with the passive mode abuse and well, you've got GTA Online PvP anno 2019. Bulletproof Helmets. It was a small addition to GTA Online way back in the day, but it also changed PvP loads and there was a lot of uproar about it. Before the Bulletproof Helmets, headshots were a guaranteed kill. When that changed, explosives became more important in single combat and well, rocket spamming, explosive spamming was kind of the result. The last thing I do want to mention, it's not a thing that changed GTA Online entirely, but I do definitely want to give it a little shout out because, well, during a certain time in GTA Online, this vehicle was the go-to vehicle. It's the armored Kuruma. Still, up until this point, a vehicle that is a must-have. Introduced during the heist days, it is still in nearly everyone's GTA Online repertoire because of its armor and windows, but it is on one hand kind of getting obsolete by another vehicle which kind of changed GTA Online way more than any DLC or vehicle ever has. And GhillieMaster 16, you take it away, my dear boy.
Ah yes, the Oppressor Mk2, the most talked about vehicle that Rockstar has ever introduced to GTA Online. Despite being hated by the vocal majority, it does bring some positives to the game. Never has it been easier to traverse the map. Gone are the days of calling up your mechanic to request the fastest supercar to drive the highways to get across the map. Now you can just register as an MC, call in your Mk2, and then fly to your destination in a matter of a couple of minutes. It also makes PvE content in the game very easy. Contact missions can be done super quick using it, and the same can be said about free mode missions. On cargo cell missions, you'll see players using this bike to defend their product. However, this is where we can really see the bike as a double-edged sword because while it makes it a lot easier to defend the product, it's also just as easy to grief the product using the Oppressor Mk2. From a design standpoint, the Oppressor Mk2 has no flaws. It's small, it's maneuverable, it's fast, it has some of the best weaponry in the game, it's got defense with countermeasures, and its cooldown, nowhere to be found. So where does the problem come in? Well, no other vehicle has the advantages that the Oppressor Mk2 has without disadvantages to balance it out. A perfect example of this is the original Oppressor. This bike also was hated by the community, but from a design standpoint, it's balanced. Sure, it also has 20 missiles with good tracking, not as good as the Mk2 mind you, and it can fly. The difference, however, is that the original Oppressor cannot stay airborne 24/7. It has to touch the ground eventually if you want to keep flying it. Pair that with the fact that it has no countermeasures, and you can see its weakness. Any vehicle that can spam homing missiles could easily take it out because it can't stay evasive in the air forever. Eventually, it's going to get hit by one of the rockets when it loses momentum in the air. Or you also have the option of staying high enough in the air where the Oppressor can't even touch you if it tried. In the case of the Mk2 though, a lot of aircraft that are meant to succeed in air combat are at a disadvantage against the Oppressor Mk2. No air vehicle in the game has missiles that are accurate enough to take it out. The Hunter, for example, stands no chance against the Mk2. Unless you have a gunner, then you might have a slight chance of beating it. To put a long story short, the Mk2 has ruined a lot of PvP between air vehicles. So, I don't know what the next update is going to bring, but hopefully it brings something to deal with the Oppressor Mk2 epidemic.
And there you have it. Now before you leave, be sure to subscribe to GhillieMaster 16. His link will be in the description of this video. Now if you agree with this list or have anything to add to this list, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.